And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And on this weekend show, you're looking forward to it because it's another state of pro wrestling. John Orlando for the PVD cast stops by to go ahead and talk about the latest wrestling news with me. So go ahead and check it out. Plus, also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. I just finished a great show with Chris Sardieri from the Domination Sports Nation, where we cover Week 9 in the NFL. And sorry, cover your ears, Sean, the disaster in the dumpster fire known as the Las Vegas Raiders. We go ahead and cover that and more right there at Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Plus, also as well, go ahead and check out Joe Soro. Today is Oxide T47. You know they're having a great time roasting the Clippers after the great victory today by the Los Angeles Lakers. And he's doing so today as Oxide T47 at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what he has to say there. Plus, you see him with the hat. You see him with the shirt. It's Simblates. Simblates with a Y.com. Go ahead and check out what he is doing there today to transform your lawn into something much more magical than it is today. And you live in the Southern California. There's no area better place to go for a new lawn today than Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Also as well, Lakerholics.com. You know Laker Tom is giddy right now, like he's 30, 40 years younger than he actually is. And you know Jamie Sweet is probably mocking him all the way, but those guys are going back at it each and every time. But they're both happy that the Lakers won right there at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, Lakers in 5. Also want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Empire Jeff TV, the John McCalian channel, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. All these great places you need to go ahead and check out and go ahead and subscribe. And speaking of subscribing, please go ahead and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live right here on the air. If you're on Facebook, please just go ahead and check us out wherever you can right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. And don't forget, I know we did have some trouble tonight, just like the Lakers did in the first half, but we did get it up and running. It was a great finish right there on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Alfred says it best. Guys, what a game. Great to have you back, Alfred, on the East Coast. I know you're there. Darren's already in the chat with a super chat. We truly appreciate it. Ham, caught scam, going small for one play, and talked himself out of it. It's obvious we go back to it. We go big because it does cause the problems that it did today. A big lineup indeed. The Lakers came into tonight in its first matchup of the season against its crosstown rival against the Clippers with some very much determination on the mind and also a lot of short hands because the team was shorthanded tonight when we heard just before game time that Taurean Prince having some knee issues, so he sat out the game. Also as well, Gabe Vincent sitting out the game as well with some left knee soreness as well. And of course, Rui Hashimura, his eye contusion looks like to be something much worse because he has been put into and placed into concussion protocol along with Jared Vanderbilt. So the Lakers had 4 guys out of the lineup tonight, but you know what? That meant more minutes for LeBron and AD, but it also meant other people had to step up, and that's what they did tonight. And Intel Wild said tonight, one of the guys that did look pretty good was Cam's defense, and it looked pretty damn good to me. Even when he was challenging on that last three-pointer, that was a pretty good challenge. I think that was a very weak call by the refs, which Joe noted has happened several times down the stretch. Ham should have challenged blocked by LeBron, but was called goaltending. Should have challenged that. Mistakes down the line after the Lakers, after coming back from down as many as 18 points in the first half, came back to take a lead, 8 points late in the game. Looked pretty good for the Lakers. Unfortunately, they kind of let it slip away through various mistakes. Again, not making the challenge when they needed to, and some other things happening down the line as far as not executing down the stretch. And the Lakers ended up going to overtime, but in that overtime, the Lakers finally picked apart the Clippers the way Magic Man wanted them to go ahead and make sure that they got those players that had 5 fouls, like Norman Powell and Paul George, out of the game. They finally did that in the overtime and distanced themselves with a great overtime performance, 130 to 125. Again, we could go on and on about LeBron James one of the for a guy that's in his 38, he's 38 years old, 21st season, one of the most minutes ever by someone playing that length of time. 42 minutes for him, 35 points, 7 assists, 11 rebounds. Anthony Davis, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 block shots. D'Angelo Russell, a great game for him, 27 points, 6 assists. Austin Reeves, after getting smoked continuously by Russell Westbrook in the first half, came back strong. Came back strong indeed. Gave us really what we need playmaking wise with some clutch play, 15 points, 7 assists, and 8 rebounds, 3 steals. The thing that sticks out the most, though, is Cam Reddish, a guy who I personally maligned. Still on the offensive end, it isn't pretty, but on the defensive end, his versatility and length. People ask him, why is he, in our chat, why is he still in the lineup? Why is he still in the lineup? Well, this is why he's still in the rotation, is because of what he could do on the defensive end. 3 steals, a lot of great contests against PG and also Kawhi. Truly a good game on the defensive end. Hopefully he can continue that, moving on, especially without Vanderbilt. Max Christie, unfortunately, getting extra time, could not get it done. Only got 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 5 from deep. Christian Wood, however, once again, a clutch performance from him. 10 points, 11 rebounds, and a very important block shot on Ivica Zubats when we needed it the most. And the Lakers pull out an overtime victory. Made it hard for not only themselves but us, but a win is a win. And they win and they beat the Clippers, getting that albatross off their back after so many regular season defeats to the Clippers. They win 130 to 125 in overtime. And here today, first man up, first man here. Good man indeed. He's the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and check us out right here, of course, not only on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, but also here at the Lakers Fast Break, wherever you get your podcasts. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. Sean, great to have you here. Very emotional roller coaster that we went on in that fourth quarter and overtime, but it was well worth it.
It was well worth it, Gerald. I spent a lot of time in my grandfather's carpentry studio, and Gerald, are you familiar with why somebody uses sandpaper?
I am.
Yes. So sandpaper is used to uh, as a grit to uh, make surfaces look a lot nicer than they already are. Now, this game required grit. Grit's an ingredient you need to for resolve. Grit's an ingredient in a championship team. We were down 61-48, Gerald, but it felt like a funeral in
We were
playback
down
because
37-19 in the
team.
first quarter.
So down 13 at half, and it felt like we were going to be down 20. But my goodness, they showed a lot of grit in that third quarter, man. 39-24,
Very
held
active.
held them to under 25 points. Remember, Gerald, we were talking about that Sacramento game. That first quarter got away from them, and obviously the OT got away from them. But the second, third, and fourth quarter, they played good enough defense to win a game. I felt that the second half was true grit. Uh, Everybody picked each other up. Everybody gets a gold star tonight. Everybody they did their played their roles. Uh, to be honest, the start not what we're looking for again, Gerald. But I mean, well, it's a small criticism for a victory. But again, getting off to that flat start again, put him behind the 8 ball. And we've kind of seen this before, especially with the Darvin Ham coach team, is that the Lakers would, like last year, for example. Last year they could be down 12 to 16 points, and as Joe reiterated in playback, yeah, they could pull within 6 or 8. But then the team comes back and then hits a three or goes on like a 11-4 run. All of a sudden, instead of being down 6, you're down 13 or 15. This time they didn't allow it to deter him, Gerald. They kept grinding it out, almost not really paying attention to the scoreboard until we finally took the lead uh, there late in the third. But overall, great win. Flowers go off to Cam Reddish. I mean, even though Cam and Max didn't shoot the ball well, Cam gave good minutes, and Max Christie's defense was decent tonight, Gerald, in 22 minutes. So hats off to them. And of course, him resurrected himself tonight, I
In that
think.
second half, yes.
So looks good. Looks good. And by the way, the Lakers are 2-1 in their division. The last time they were 2-1 in their division this early in the year was the 2019-2020 season, Gerald.
And we all know what happened then. Another
Yep.
championship for the Los Angeles Lakers, indeed. Once again, it is the Los Angeles Lakers winning 131 to 125 in overtime. Also here today, a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out here at Lakers Fast Break. A great part of our playback.tv / Lakers Fast Break. And a guy that, again, like me, went through the emotional roller coaster in that fourth quarter in the overtime. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the game. Again, the Lakers, I think, yes, the score may not indicate that there was great defense played by individuals out there, but I kind of disagree. When you look and watch the game, you saw effort in that second half and overtime from the Lakers on the defensive end. And I think that's really what helped them progress and get the win tonight.
It was a tale of two issues tonight. The issue of players that haven't shown up yet on, or at least for the season, and then, of course, slow starts, which was surprising because they played very, very well in the preseason in every game, at the beginning of every game. I know it's preseason, but hey, I don't know. I guess I was just expecting at least them to come out the gate with some kind of consistency. This looked like every Laker Clipper game from the last 3 years. At the beginning, they were down 18 points, and then I don't know what switched other than the defense got a little tighter. And I think Kawhi Leonard might have, you know how when you in a four-man relay, if you go too fast, you lose the juice towards the end. I think that's what happened to Kawhi. Kawhi had enough rest in between the start and then the end, so that he could, I guess, muster enough towards the end, right? I wasn't expecting overtime, but Paul George kind of covered that middle part for him, and he could not get back into a rhythm. He hit a three, and then that obviously went the way it did. But I was very impressed with the man defense. I thought Cam Reddish played phenomenal one-on-one defense. I thought he was able to put his hands up at the right time, didn't really fall for any kind of jump fakes or any pump fakes, which is key, something that Christian Wood has been very, very good at doing as well. Just an overall phenomenal performance in the second half. The ending of the fourth quarter was another just absolute travesty of officiating by the NBA. And this thing is just, it's an everyday, it's every single game. I mean, that goaltend call was atrocious.
Absolutely terrible.
And those are just killers, absolute killers in what it can do to a momentum, what it can do for momentum in a game like this. And these guys dictate these wins and losses so much by just making boneheaded calls like that. And Darvin Ham, where the hell were you to challenge that? You would have won that. Why doesn't this guy do why doesn't he do any calls? I don't understand what's going on here. Why isn't anyone telling him? Maybe LeBron has to go slap him or something and tell him, look, I blocked that shot. I was trying to see if there was some.
He was screaming. He was animated on that.
I don't understand it. I don't understand why you're not challenging those. They gave you an extra challenge for this reason, so that you don't have to worry about saving it towards the end of the game. And this actually was at the end of the game, which would have mattered. Now, looking at the whole game looking at the game as a whole, this is why it's important for team basketball to mesh. I can't pick one or the other. AD had a good game. LeBron had a good game. Austin had a great 2.5. The last 2.5 quarters had a great 2.5 quarter. D'Lo had a good game. Christian Wood had a good game. Reddish had a spot there where he was just killing it on defense. And even to some degree, Christie, maybe not shooting well, but at least he was coherent on defense and at least was able to run around screens and do things like that. So this is what you call a team win. And it took every ounce of every lucky shot that Clippers had to make and the refs helping them, and the Lakers still won. So it says a lot about how the Lakers mustered tonight. And the only negative in the end is the fact that LeBron had to play 40 minutes. The good thing is there is going to be 2 days off. We are playing Orlando on Saturday, and then we're going to have another couple days off before we face Miami. Or I should say another day off before we face Miami. I would really like, now that the team had this kind of coming out party for the season, or to start the season, guys and they did have a good run. They extended the lead when LeBron was sitting. So, guys, can we get LeBron only about 26 minutes for Saturday, please? And in Miami, maybe 30.
Did you see that stat though that they flashed as far as how many games is in his entire career that he's actually only played under 30 minutes, and it was like what 70 out of like, yeah. Go ahead, Magic.
Yeah, Gerald, it was 5% of 1,400 games. So that's
yeah.
So think about that. 10% would be 140 around there. 5%
so about 70
is 70 games.
You have to look at the context of that, though. Okay, look at LeBron's teams half his career. It's nobody's, and I wouldn't say nobody's. Let's say he affects that game way too much. He affects the team way too much to sit him down. Even with guys like Kyrie and Kevin Love on the team back when. But of course, even in the first from 2003, 2004 until 2010, who else was on that team other than Ilgauskas and Boogie Gibson, or guys like that, which we wouldn't really consider perennial juggernauts. But LeBron has spent half his career, at the very least, being the guy. I mean, I'm talking like if you take him out, the whole house falls. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gerald. So if you read through the rules and the officiating note there, it says that if a coach is to challenge, there is a sequence that they must follow in order for that challenge to be reviewed. You have to call a timeout. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Darvin Ham refuses to call timeouts, Gerald. He wants to save them for the fourth quarter. And ultimately, I think that's what's preventing him from challenging all of these plays, is that he fears that if he loses, he's going to lose those timeouts.
Okay. Then why didn't he call a timeout on the last play before regulation ended?
That's a good question.
The point is,
good question. We're not there. I wish we could ask him that.
Yeah, that's something somebody needs to ask. Forget about the timeout at that point. You call that play goes your way, you'll win the game. What are you worried about timeouts at that point?
It's a swing. It's a swing possession.
Absolutely.
I don't want to. I was hoping I didn't have to harp on this. I want to talk about the good stuff in the game, but it is the idiocy of these things. This is basic common sense at this point. Why can't he make this call? This isn't just the first time he's done this. He keeps doing this. The refs, I mean, Jesus Christ. Is it just us, or is everybody getting this treatment? I don't understand what's going on here. Why?
Well, as Intel Wild said, again, in his pockets mentally this time in the super chat, but you agree he's just hesitating too much on not actually going after the refs on these calls.
So do we give him credit for the adjustments at halftime?
Yes.
Right? But then you're sitting there like, I want to say yes, but then you fumble the basic stuff. That's worse when you do such good things here and then you fumble the basic stuff.
Because this is a game they should have gone away, won by 8 or 10.
This thing should have been over. And again, I'm not going to blame him for what happened towards the end of the game. That was just these freaking guys just kept making things out of their ass. Sometimes that happens. It's just I don't even know what the I don't know. It's just these guys keep making these shots against us because they're a perennial loser that can't do jack squat except when they play us. And I, again, the hell with the Clippers, the hell with the refs, the hell with Darvin Ham's stupid moves. The Lakers played a complete team focus tonight, and everyone contributed. Every single guy contributed in some way. Congratulations tonight. You finally put a damn W over these a-holes, and that's all we should care about at this point.
That's something you had mentioned over the summer. That's something that you wanted to get crossed off the list is victories and winning the season series against the Clippers. They're certainly on their way to doing that. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, Magic Man Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glasser. Thanks so much for watching and listening. The Lakers do win in overtime, 130 to 125. Magic Man, we're going to go on about LeBron and AD here in a little bit, but the thing I want to focus on this time last week, we actually dedicated episodes to this about our great concerns over the backcourt, D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, and how bad they were playing. They were playing like the worst, one of the worst NBA backcourts, period. No question about it. Today, or in the fact, past two games for D'Angelo, he has shown up very mightily. And today in that second half, Joe said 2.5 quarters. You're right. And since the third quarter on, you got the kind of tandem that you needed from the Los Angeles Lakers. How good does it feel for you to see that backcourt absolutely becoming the backcourt that you saw during parts of the playoff stretch?
It's very nice to see, Gerald. And you know me, I'm gonna be on the Reeves bus till it breaks down. Really love the kid's resolve. No ifs, ands, or buts around it. He was flat out terrible defensively, and his shot was just wonky as you know what to start out. But he kept at it. Who knows, Gerald? We're gonna find out what happened at halftime. That's what I'd like to know. Something changed at halftime for everybody in that locker room. It was just a different connectivity when they came out. They it felt like they were like this. That there was nothing that was going to untether them. No conflict, no obstacles, and they pulled through, Gerald. It was a gritty effort by those two. And look, 42, 13, and 10 from that tandem. Take that every day. Plus, Gerald, they were 9 of 9 from the line, including I think Austin went 4 of 4 in the last 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. So it was great to see it. Hopefully it'll maneuver itself. Maybe this is being a flashpoint or an embers for the spark for those two to continue on this stellar play. But I just think at this point in time, Gerald, the adjustments that they made at halftime with Reeves and defensively was a key. Um, he was put on Russell Westbrook, and you know what? Up until Cam Reddish had to check him because PG fouled out. He wasn't doing a half bad job, Gerald. It wasn't as if Russ was cooking him again in the first quarter, as he was in the third. So that was a great adjustment, and I'm happy for him. But it needs to continue because we're playing a hungry Orlando team next, and then you've got a very pesky team in the Heat too. So he's got to keep up this gritty performance.
We'll see what happens. He does get an extra day off, so we're looking forward to seeing what happens as he heads over, along with the rest of the Lakers, to Orlando. But Joe, bring it back to you. You've got to be pleased about what you saw from the backcourt. You got what you needed from the backcourt. We had talked about this time last week, our great concerns over how badly both D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves were playing. Do you feel like a little bit of that has been lifted? 2 games now, D'Angelo has been very consistent, 20 plus in each of those games. And Austin Reeves in that second half played more like the Austin Reeves we know for the first time this season. Do you have a little bit more confidence now heading out on this road trip?
Well, we have this conflict between the heart and the brain, and being in a culture now of instant gratification. And for those of you who think you're not a part of that, you're delusional. I'll admit, I'm on my phone getting things like this when I want it. When I think of something, I get on the phone and look for it right away. I want instant gratification on that. And that's how we've been built here with the age of information. So it's spilled over to everything. It's not just information. It spills over to people doing things for us, whether it's at work or at home. And then, of course, something that is as mundane as or unimportant in the grand scheme of things as entertainment, basketball. We're going to be harping on that even more because, again, there's no consequence. We're behind a computer. We're behind our own TVs. They can't hear us yelling at them. So we feel obligated that after 2 or 3 missed shots in a row, we want to send D'Angelo to Saskatchewan and let him freeze to death there. Or Austin Reeves all of a sudden turns into her instead of him. And now, we shouldn't have signed him, stuff like that, But at the end, I'm gonna point out to a couple things so that you guys understand maybe why this thing turned out the way it did. At some point, your offense shows up if you're a good offensive player, and D'Angelo is a good offensive player, and Austin Reeves is a good offensive player. They just happen to not have good offensive outputs the first few games of the year. Where we were hurting is on the defensive side, right? And we're not expecting D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves to be shut down corners. That's a little metaphor there, but you know what I mean, Sean, right? However, what they did do very well in the second half was funnel the players. So stayed in front of their guys. Just stay in front. Be a nuisance, at least there. And then if you happen to know that they're going to go a certain way, funnel them to the boys. Funnel them to AD. AD made it very, very clear that you were not going to get an easy shot. And Christian Wood made it very clear that if AD is busy, I'm here too. My God, if you're talking about something that's going to be valuable down the stretch, that is going to be valuable. Someone who's, is it just me, or is Christian Wood really 6'9"?
6'10".
He looks like he's 7'1". Is it
No,
just me?
he's 6'10". He's
Okay.
a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Whatever they list him at, he don't look 6'10". He looks 7 and up. And that block on Zubac.
You know what skill he's really got, Joe? He can jump really high in a telephone booth, like really high. That's really helpful as a help defender for Anthony Davis. If you've got that kind of leaping ability, plus you're long.
His anticipation, the key with defensive players is the ability to anticipate well, not to go for fakes, not to overshoot your block. Those things carry a lot of weight. And in that sequence, when he blocked Zubac's shot, you could see him going, man, you ain't getting this shot out. I'm waiting until the last second, and boom, right? And if Reddish hadn't missed the shot and then Wood had a rebound dunk to basically seal the game, Reddish could have just given him the ball and he would have dunked it, right? But I guess he was padding his stats. He got an extra rebound out of it, so that was a good thing. But in the end here, guys, what set this game into a different direction for the Lakers was the fact that the guys who struggled on defense, the guys that were getting lost in all the pick and rolls and all the movement going on, they stayed steady. And then when they knew they weren't able to do what they needed to do, they were able to funnel their guy to the boys who could be a problem. And they kept doing it, and they kept doing it. And on top of that, their offensive game flourished at the same time. That third quarter was probably the best third quarter I've seen in the Darvin Ham coaching era. It was complete dominance. We don't have that quarter. I don't think we win this game. I mean, it looked like a completely different team in the third quarter. The fourth quarter was kind of steady. They kept it steady until the refs came in and screwed it up. And then the Clippers start pulling rabbits out of their a-holes at the end, shooting shots out of their ears and left nostrils and all that. And then, of course, finally we were able to take advantage of a fifth foul and get Paul George and his whining ass, after clearly seeing a foul, getting his ass out. And then all the pressure went to Kawhi. Kawhi made a last-ditch effort there, but in the end, he was the only one that could make a shot, really. And then, of course, the Lakers had Austin, they had D'Lo, they had LeBron, they had AD doing their thing, and, of course, they had Christian Wood. So, great team win. Great team win. Great adjustments. I'm going to leave this last bit to everyone who's watching and Laker fans out there. Guys, it's the fifth game. Let this marinate a little. Let this marinate a little. Our focus now as fans is hopefully we go to Orlando. We got a couple days off here. You go to Orlando and you take what Darvin Ham can say, guys, look what you guys did in this 5-minute sequence when LeBron was sitting. You guys were able to extend the lead. You guys played well. It was cohesive. Everything was running nice. We want to have this at least for a half. If you can have that for one half for this road trip, we can get out of there maybe with a 3-1 record. That's my hope right now for this road trip. And if we come out of it 3-1, I'm very happy with a 6-3 record after 9 games. Then I'd be 1 game away from my prediction of 7-3.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win in overtime, 130-125. Thanks. Big shout out to our awesome chat room. Big shout out to Intel Wild, Darren, Serge, Kenneth, Nazgul even came back just to say, congratulations to us. So truly appreciate it. Serge has the best line, double agent Westbrook. I love that because, while he had a great game himself, wouldn't you know, down the stretch, Magic Man, Russell Westbrook, clip's going to clip, my friend. And Westbrook's going to Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, West Slip.
Yep. You know what, Gerald? He had a great night shooting from 3. And if you had told me, you know what, Sean? Russell Westbrook's going to have a great night shooting for 3, but he's going to slip on a banana peel at the end of the game, and it's going to allow the Lakers to win, I'd take that all day, Gerald.
Absolutely.
Bring it on. Russ?
So one of the things, let me ask you this now, getting back, to Russ, thank you so much. Again, truly appreciate it. Want to give a big shout out to everybody. Kenneth Stone, absolutely great to always have you here, my friend. Truly appreciate everyone being part. Guga, who I think just went to bed because it's 3 a.m. in Brazil. Truly appreciate you taking the time to go ahead and Viva Brazil. Thank you so much for being part of it. There you go, Samba indeed. But let me ask you this, Magic Man. When it comes to some of the unheralded players, Cam Reddish, again, someone who I really was against coming on to the Lakers, and someone that, was talked about so much in social media beforehand. You got to give him to Lakers, got to get him on Lakers. It still is not very pretty at all on the offensive end, but his versatility and his length on the defensive end is making a contribution, and he's playing against the top guys on the other team. PG, Kawhi, Russ, he's causing issues and causing problems for them. I even thought the call that he got late on the 3-pointer, that was absolutely weak. And if his name, if it was the other way around and Cam Reddish taking the shot and PG, they would not have called it on PG. So I want to hear your thoughts on Cam Reddish. Again, not the prettiest thing in the world on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he is making contributions. He's getting the steals. His length is bothering the other teams. And really, that's what you'd like to see.
Yeah, 100%, Gerald. He's playing defense as advertised. It was come and go in Atlanta with this, and I got to be honest, Gerald, I didn't really see him play this kind of defense with the Knicks, because if he had, Tibbs would have played him well over 35, 40 minutes a night with that kind of effort. So they the malign minimums, Gerald, have turned into the money minimums for the Lakers, because right now Cam Reddish and Wood are money when you put them on the floor right now, both performing very admirably. I will say this, Gerald, going to have to, as Joe said, we're going to have to wait and see how everything marinates. One of Reddish or Vando has to have a respectable 3-point shot.
Yeah.
If one of them has a respectable 3-point shot, then fundamentally I think you could get away with stretches with playing both of them if you have, that big lineup that we talked about. If Wood, AD, and LeBron are all out there, LeBron could be your de facto point guard, Gerald. I mean, uh, and with a lineup that big, and with Cam Reddish really being an excellent point of attack defender, and Vando's ability to cover about half the floor himself in a half court setting, it bodes well. It just goes to show you though, um, whatever was told to these guys, even after they signed, they're all playing their roles, Gerald. It nobody's really trying to do more than they have to. Even, and I say that even with Austin Reeves, because he had that really poor game against the Kings. These last two, he's kind of settled down a little bit and tried to focus on the little things.
I'll tell you what, though, a great thing to see as far as Anthony Davis and Intel Wild in the super chat. Once again, truly appreciate it. Magic Man, great thoughts right there from you as well, my friend. Davis came into the night, Joe, with 15,944 career points, which ranked 120th. He's now passed Pistol Pete for 119th with 15,944 career points, plus what he got tonight. So great job indeed, because so you can add 27 more onto that. So he is now in 119th all time, heading for the top 100 of all time in the scoring list. So congratulations to Anthony Davis on that. But Joe, getting back to the game, I want to go ahead and thank you again, Intel Wild, for the super chat. I want to ask you this: when it comes to Christian Wood, again, someone who was very much maligned. The Mavs wanted nothing to do with him upon his departure. The league didn't want anything to do with him, and he had to sign the minimum for the Lakers. Part of that reason was because the defense. And yes, he is not the stopper that we're seeing from, let's say, Reddish level, but he is providing good, timely defense. For the most part, good rebounding, although PJ Tucker got him a couple times, but still, for the most part, he is providing what you need. And now in the past week has providing you some threes and some offense as well, Joe.
Also, the offensive rebound issue has been getting less
He
and
got
less
a
of
key offensive rebound and that slam dunk putback.
Yes, it was something that we had to deal with last year a lot, and it was starting again at the beginning of the year. I'd say we would have probably won that Kings game if we had gotten a few more offensive rebounds. But we have to be realistic, guys. This is half these guys are new, and we talked about it during the summer that once we knew that the rosters were going to be set, especially when Christian Wood was signed, we have to see who's going to understand their roles, who's really going to understand their roles. And these injuries that happened with the additional talent that they acquired this year, this offseason, look what it did today. We didn't even miss a beat with Gabe gone, Prince gone, Vando gone. That's 3 players that would play. One is a starter. The other is a backup point guard. The other is a possible starter. So they had 3 valuable players that didn't play today, but we didn't notice because the guys that we had that replaced them brought enough value for tonight's game that it didn't affect the Lakers. Like, you can't probably sit there and say, well, if we had Vando, Gabe, and Taurean Prince, we would have blown the Clippers out. It probably would have played out the same way. And that's the point. The point is the Lakers have accumulated enough talent to combat these type of issues with injuries. The only ones we can't replace, obviously, is LeBron and AD. But that's like that for anything. That's like saying, well, if the starting quarterback in the NFL is out, you're screwed. Yeah, of course, because the NFL is quarterback heavy, right? That's what makes the league go. So in this situation, especially this game, it showed you how important getting this depth was during the offseason. And if these guys like Cam Reddish, who have been problem people, Jackson Hayes, who some have said focus was an issue.
Yeah, he even
Christian
gave us
Wood,
some good minutes in there tonight.
Look, everyone played well tonight for who they are. Jackson Hayes brought some value tonight, even though he played limited role. Same thing with Max Christie. You can't expect these guys to be all world. That doesn't make any sense. The cool thing about the Christian Wood thing is, and we've had this discussion several times, is that this guy is not a minimum player talent. This guy should be making, based off what the market says for his talent, 15 to 20 mil a year. And we're getting him at 2.7. So we're already winning here. He's helped us win 2 games, really helped us win 2 games that maybe we might not win without him. The Phoenix game and in this game. So I had a good feeling that Austin was going to bounce out of this. There was nothing that told me that he wasn't going to get out of this, because we saw it last year with him struggling at the beginning of the year, and something happened during the summer. He was exploited, but you're professionals, guys. They adjust to you, you adjust to them. They adjust to you, you adjust to them. You have to continue that process. That's the difference between professionals and amateurs. That's the difference between professionals who have a long career versus those who don't. Those who can't adjust, those who don't want to grind and watch video and try to improve their game, they're the ones that don't make it in the NBA, no matter how talented they are. So, in conclusion, if this is what we see here, guys, for the rest of the year, the Lakers are going to be a problem. Because if everybody buys into their role, and they understand there's going to be some games where they're not going to be playing more than 5 minutes, some are going to be playing 29 minutes, and then the next game they're going to play 10 minutes. If they understand that, this is going to run very well as long as everybody stays healthy.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? Again, good for him for making that adjustment, because Jackson Hayes didn't play 5 minutes tonight. He made sure he played him almost 15 minutes. So, this is the point. Don't play him and Rui like 5 to 7 minutes at when you have all this maneuverability. Those guys are more efficient as the game goes on. Like that again, sort of noticing that as well, Gerald. Do you notice how Christian Wood is getting more efficient the later we get into games? Because I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So
the second, you got to admit, as Nazgul said, they came out with a different mentality in that second half, Sean.
Yes, they did, Gerald. They did. We played in the fast break a lot. LeBron was pushing the ball. Austin was pushing the ball. There was an emphasis on it. Lou said in his post-game comments, Gerald, that he thought that was the difference in the game. The Lakers outscored the Clippers in transition 24-9. That makes a big difference. And now that we've seen the early returns here, again, it's still early, but there is a more and more clamoring, Gerald, for this big lineup.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to give Adam his credit, and Alan as well. Both those guys have been clamoring for the 3 big lineup. I was worried about especially who guards the 3. They've been able to get away with it so far and been able to prosper because of it, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to give those guys credit because they believed in it. And I was kind of like, because, quickness, it may not be the perfect thing against the right team, but for the teams that they've been facing off so far, they've been able to get away with it.
Yeah, you've been able to get away with it. So, I mean, you got to, I know they say you got to stick with what works. Well, sometimes what works today doesn't work tomorrow. So you have to change it up. But yeah, Gerald, and again, bringing up another point we talked about in the summer and preseason, if the big lineup performed well, then it would force him to really make a decision. Like he's got to decide whether he wants to favor the big lineup or he wants to favor the 3 guard lineup. Well, there's no evidence right now that this 3 guard should be up here. Big lineup should be up here. Got to stick with the hot hand, Gerald. When you're on the heater, you never get off the heater, right, Gerald?
Exactly. Although, again, for a while in that fourth quarter, again, the fact that PG had 5 fouls. Again, Ivica Zubac, although he was taken out of the game, also had 5 fouls. Norman Powell got his 5th foul. We saw in overtime what you talk about when you get these guys out of foul trouble, out in foul trouble with 6 fouls. It makes it so much easier because you're bringing guys in that are cold and can't quite do what a PG or a Norman Powell does effectively when you get them out of the game, right, Sean?
Yes, Gerald. Well stated. That's very good. Yes, it's some
Well, that's something
bringing.
you brought up continuously. So when you
Yeah,
get them out of the game with those fouls, makes it so much easier.
it makes it so much easier. Yeah, exactly. And given they're bereft of depth tonight because of the couple of trades that they've made, it was obvious, Gerald. I mean, if you have an opportunity to get rid of their 2 of their 3 best perimeter defenders, you take every avenue and opportunity to do that. Last year we were waiting for it with Jalen Brown, and it didn't happen. And Luka Doncic, and it didn't happen. And then Devin Booker, and it didn't happen. They made the adjustment today, Gerald. We have to give Darvin Ham some credit because either I think somebody told him he did. I think somebody told him, Gerald. But regardless,
Well,
it was
LeBron, I think,
the
knew
LeBron, yes, of course. So it's a point of
because that's
emphasis
who
to
got the
attack
foul
him.
on
And by the
PG.
way, you hit it was that PG foul was so obvious, and they went to review
That
that.
was a longer replay
Then
than
Reddish,
Reddish's, which was absolutely as close and razor thin of not being a foul as you can make it. Yet they just said, "Oh, okay, we're going to give it to you, PG." Yet on the other end, of course, oh, PG smacked him on the arm, but we're going to go ahead and review it for 5 minutes.
yeah,
Again,
Gerald,
what Joe was talking about.
the officiating was very shaky today.
Yeah.
Swallowing whistles when you shouldn't be swallowing them, and then using whistles half a second or a second and a half afterwards. Which again, you've heard me say this before. If you don't see it, don't call it. Don't don't make this a scenario where we're constantly having to work around this problem where you don't see a foul but you call it anyway. Why? If you don't see it, you don't call it. That's a rule. All the players know it, even the refs know it. And again, just very disorganized from a communication point of view, Gerald. The long delays in replay. There was also a long delay because they didn't know where the outbounds pass should be. It was just a lot of, just again, to quote Jack Nicholson from The Shining, they interfere.
Yep, absolutely, indeed. But once again, the Lakers do win 130 to 125. Great win in overtime by the Lakers. Thank you so much to Intel Wild. $40 contribution there. Truly appreciate it for getting 40 plus likes here on YouTube. Cannot thank you enough, Intel, for your kindness in the super chat. Joe, let's bring it back to you, my friend. When it comes down to it, are you encouraged now that Austin Reeves may be taking some steps forwards after tonight's game, especially in that second half? Are you encouraged that the possibility he can now play a little bit more comfortably? He's still going to be torched on defense. He's still going to be targeted. We know this, but the fact he can make you pay with his playmaking and hopefully better shooting skills that he showed and demonstrated in the second half, at least it gives you some more room for comfort because we already had him coming off the bench. We already had him out of the lineup and almost out of the rotation because of how bad he was playing. It was some people in some circles, including us, we were thinking that may be a possibility. Are you more encouraged by his play after tonight?
I was more encouraged by the fact that the Clippers were just running a clinic and it didn't mentally destroy the team. It didn't destroy Austin's mentality or D'Lo's. These kind of games can set a precedent for a season in so many ways. It's some measly fifth game of the year, but because of the circumstances of what's been going on the last 3 years with this team, the Clippers played well enough to win this game. They dropped, what is it, 130, 125 points. This should have been a win for the Clippers. But what the Lakers did was they figured out how to adjust finally to the Clippers' defense and started exploiting their weaknesses. There were pockets. There was a little bit of zone that they were playing that the Lakers were able to kind of bust every now and then. Why? Make shots, right? That's the best way to bust the zone, is to make shots. There's a lot of empty area on the court when you do run a zone. And they didn't get frustrated when Paul George kept hitting runner threes, or if Kawhi would 18 points in the first 10 minutes of the game. I do want one thing, though. I do want this double-digit deficit in the first 5 minutes to stop. I'd like them to start leading from the beginning. And I didn't know if that was going to be a problem later. Usually it was. Usually you try so hard to come back. They make a couple of shots, and then all of a sudden the momentum goes back to the team that you're trying to catch up to. But in this case, as soon as they took that first 1 point lead, they seemed to get more energy from it, and then they kind of went all the way with it, which is probably the most amazing part about the game. Is I'd like to know what reinvigorated you guys. Was it the fifth game of the year and your body's starting to get used to the 82 game grind? I think that might be it. I think no matter how much you prepare, no matter how much you work on, no matter how much you're hitting the bag and boxing and playing international ball, the NBA game is a completely different game. Even the professionals in the international game, the NBA game, the NBA. So when that fossil down in San Antonio was, oh, well, this isn't the world champion here. Yes, the NBA, you are the world champion because this is the number one league on the planet. Okay, you could have 400 leagues around the world. They don't amount to dick when it comes to the NBA champion. The NBA champion is the best team in the world because it's the number one league in the world. So, takes a minute maybe for some of these guys to kind of get into the groove. And it looks like they got into the groove that third quarter. The only thing that could derail this is the dog days. We're going to face a team here between now and whenever where you're just like, man, they can't make stuff. They look like they're dead. They look like they're jet lagged. We're just going to have to take the L on this. That happens. But I would like this kind of effort whenever they're playing a really, really good team. This felt like a really good win against a really good team. And I feel like it's been a while in the regular season where we've had this kind of game. And it's also nice to know that the Lakers are 3-0 at home already. That feels good. And
Yes.
2-10 is dead. That's not now officially not gonna happen. So
it cannot happen
it took us
now.
5 games. It took us 5 games. And then again, I never thought we were gonna go 2-10 anyways, but I would love for us to come back from this road trip 3-1 and then come back home on that next game and win that one. And go 7-10 in the first 10 games. And a lot of it's going to come down to the newly confident guards and the newly confident role players. Guys, if you just keep playing the way you did tonight, because a lot of them are young, man, they could probably consistently do this. You guys play like this with LeBron on the bench and extending leads, you're going to make things much easier for you down the road. And LeBron had energy towards the end of this game because of it. Even though he played 40 minutes, he had the energy because he wasn't killing himself during those times where they were catching up and extending the lead. He was playing ahead.
He's also in his 21st season leading the league in fourth quarter scoring.
And I'm gonna end that
almost 10 points a quarter, ladies and gentlemen.
This is going to be a repeat. We're going to be saying this a lot. Holy crap, what a player this guy is. LeBron James is unbelievable. He is a basketball savant. He is, when you make a basketball player in terms of physical execution, longevity, you make LeBron James. I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time, but man, if you're going to make one, this is the guy. This guy was made to play professional basketball in every sense of the word. He was destined. He's a basketball player. If there was no basketball in this world, I don't know what he would be great at. I really don't. He is ridiculously great, and he is still not getting enough credit for what he's doing in his 21st season. It's unbelievable. What an athlete. What a player.
I don't know who. I know Tycoon was talking about how we would not trade Rui at this point in time. No, nobody's being traded yet. These guys don't even come off as far as being eligible for trade until mid-December or January at the earliest in some cases. But it all depends when it comes down to it at the trade deadline, Magic Man and Joe. We're not sure who will be playing, how effectively then. Rui's not having a great start to his season. Now he's got the concussion. Let's hope it doesn't, snowball into just a season that we'd like to forget. Let's hope he can get back on track. But any of these guys in the mid-teens with their contracts, they've all got to be at some point in time, if they do not play consistently, Sean and Joe, something down the line that we have to worry about. But then again, right now, it's only game 5. We need to focus right now, see what we have for the Lakers. Obviously, we're getting great contributions from a variety of people, Sean, and that's what you want right now heading out on a long road trip.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. It's going to be topsy-turvy this whole year long. You want to be a Laker fan? Here's the ticket. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. For good, for bad, for ugly. Right now, it's pretty good. As far as, the scuttlebutt about who's in, who's out, who's locked in, who's a trade. I mean, we could talk about that till the cows come home, Gerald. I think there's a time and place for all of it. I will say this though, uh, Austin being in a little bit of a slump caused most of Lakers. And by the way, Lakers Nation, you guys had Austin Reeves on your show interviewing him, and we got receipts that said you were ready to blow back on him tonight. Lakers Nation was ready to burn Austin Reeves at the stake, Gerald. After having him on, they and I want it on record now because we know that you did, and him turned it around, Gerald. So it's going to be a long year. I'm just glad we got the victory.
I just want to see him put it together. Let's see him put it together.
Yeah,
2, 3, 4 games in a row.
Yeah,
together.
So it wasn't a one-hit wonder.
No. This is not. You're paying him $14 million a year. This is not. We cannot have a 5-game window.
No. I never thought.
Talking about having a good series of games, then having another good series of games, just being consistently what he was, like he ended up last season.
Yeah. Be be consistent. That's it. That's a good word. Be the Beastie Boys. Be the Beastie Boys. Constantly being consistent. Don't be Dixie's Midnight Runners. We don't need Austin Reeves as a Dixie Midnight Runner.
Oh my gosh, we already talked about bad songs already.
Yeah,
on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break.
That is all time bad.
Okay.
All time.
We'll throw out some more Chumbawamba at you.
Well, you know what, something, Gerald? You and I both hate that song. Guess what? Won a Grammy. So there's no accounting for taste.
Yes, but Joe singing "Pissing the Night Away" on the on playback was absolutely killer.
Well, me and Joe both find that song rather.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's a dump of a dump.
Yes, that's true indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers. Truly appreciate you being here on a victory for the Lakers, 130-125 in overtime over the Clippers. Truly looking forward to the road ahead. We'll be here every day, even on the days off for the Los Angeles Lakers, talking about the Lakers in the NBA. Joe, I mean, just a great victory overall, great performances. You got the bench guys to go ahead and contribute. Even if they couldn't play well on offense, they gave you something on defense. Just overall, a great team victory, like you prefaced it in the beginning.
Yeah, when I was looking at the play, there was a play at the top of the key, top of the 3-point line actually, where I believe it was Russell Westbrook bringing the ball up, and it was one of those things where why is Austin Reeves in this position? He doesn't have the lateral quickness to stay anywhere near somebody like Russell Westbrook, even at his advanced age, and this could be also a factor of just bad lineups, bad philosophy on defense, bad offensive scheme, bad everything. And you got to put your players in the right positions too. Players like this, especially players like Austin Reeves and the D'Angelos, they need to be coached. They need to be coached consistently, aggressively all the time. The stars, you can coach them, but their talent is out of this world to the point where their talent can kind of cover a lot of the deficiencies in and around a particular set or a particular offense, right? Or defense.
Yeah.
So I was not encouraged by the continuous bad locations of certain guys. But then things tightened up. The passing lanes started to close down. The offensive rebounds were not there for the other team. They were missing shots and they were getting the rebound. The Clippers players, other than the two stars, really couldn't do anything. And that's what you're supposed to do, guys. Guys like Paul George, guys like Kawhi Leonard are supposed to pull rabbits out of their hats because they're the stars. What I liked about the team today is they didn't let anybody else become a problem. Whereas the first 4 games, in most of those games, you let nobody's Suggs or Brown out of Denver. You let those guys become studs for like 5 and 10 minutes during the game, and that is what ultimately will kill you because you can't concentrate on those guys too much. Otherwise, you're going to leave the stars open, and then they're going to make way with you. So in this game, you could feel the control. You could feel the identity develop. Remember we talked about identity. What is the identity of this team? Okay, it's LeBron-esque. It's a LeBron-centric offense. It's a LeBron-run team. Cool, I get that. But I'd rather worry about that and think about that in the playoffs. In the regular season, we want to make sure LeBron is fresh for those times. And of course, AD in the first 5 games of the season, even though he didn't play too well in the second half of the Denver game. Right now, AD, should he consistently do what he's doing right now for another, 77 games? Is that being too greedy?
Might be.
Let's say another 70 games. Let's be a little greedy. If AD plays 75 games this season and plays like this, 3.5 games out of the 4 a week, he will win Defensive Player of the Year this year. Won't win MVP because we need him to play well for 4 games every week. But we will probably have a Defensive Player of the Year waiting for him at the end of the year. And of course, starter in the All-Star game, and hopefully someone who's sees as his second title being a little bit more of a stamp on his legacy. Does he care about his legacy? That's always kind of the question with AD. Does he really care about his legacy? Is he satisfied with his legacy? He has a legacy, right? He has a legacy right now. If he were to retire right now, he has a legacy. But does he want it to be more? If he does, and he really wants to win another title, what better time to do it than right now? This is perfect. He's got depth. He's got young guys around him. LeBron is still playing well. Hell, let's see what you got, big fella. Because if you keep showing what you're showing now, you had 4 blocks tonight, 2 steals. It's always 4 blocks, 2 steals, 3 blocks. The guy's an amazing player. I He'd be the only player that I think I could predict if he played enough games where he'd lead the league in blocks and steals as a big man. He is capable of that, as crazy as that sounds. I have never seen a big man block shots and steal the ball as much as he does. Is it just me? Was Hakeem a good ball stealer? I don't remember. I just remember him swatting everything.
Yes, he was. I believe he is 8th all time in steals, Joe.
So our assessment of AD being a Hakeem Part 2 type player on defense is accurate. The only difference between him and Hakeem is Hakeem was there day in and day out, game in and game out, and has the hardware to prove it. I'd like to see AD get it. Would be like Troy Polamalu or Ed Reed not win a Defensive Player of the Year award in their respective sports if AD doesn't end up with at least one Defensive Player of the Year award. He should have 2 already. Again, I don't know what it is about the Lakers and not getting MVPs and awards, but he should be getting a Defensive Player of the Year award here before he retires. And if he plays 75 games this year, I believe he will get it. And if he does get it, that means the Lakers are on the right path, should LeBron stay healthy, in competing for a championship.
Now, Marcus is saying that even though he wants AD to be the leader of the team, he's still not ready yet.
No.
I just don't think it's in AD's mentality to want to be that guy.
Yeah, Marcus, there's no...
At least on a team that level. We're not talking New Orleans, 500 New Orleans. We're talking about...
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing. Here, I'm going to give you guys a player, and you all know who he is. He is James Worthy. He's James Worthy. James Worthy never was the leader. He led by example. He was a great team player. He's a Hall of Famer. He was big game James in big games and all that. But there's a difference between this guy and then this guy. It's just a little bit. It's like this much. Worthy was here. Magic and Kareem were here. LeBron is here. AD is here. It's always going to be like that. It's just the ability to control a game, the ability to control the moment is usually that extra guy, that extra little thing that just a few people in the history of the sport have. And I just don't see AD being that guy unless, again, if LeBron retires, let's say, or leaves in 2025 and AD is the guy, still don't know necessarily if he's going to be that guy. They're going to need to bring somebody in that could at least be his equal or maybe somebody above, which is, again, that's down the road. I don't want to really think about it. At this point, it's still LeBron's team. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if LeBron is 50 years old and can't play. It still would be his team.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do win 130 to 125. Don't forget, we will be live.
Pippen was close. I know some were expecting me to say Jordan Pippen. I don't know. I'll end it at this, and I'll let you finish, Gerald.
No worries.
It took Kobe and B. Shaw's 3-pointers in Game 7 in 2000 for Pippen to not be that guy. He was that close. All they had to do was close out the Lakers in that fourth quarter, and Pippen would have had his own title and a completely different ending of his career. Imagine Pippen, because I really believe the Lakers don't win that game. There's a lot of things that are going to fall down. I don't know if they would have been able to get into 2001 with the same team. I don't know if they wouldn't have just kind of figured out another way to get something going on. We don't know that. We'll never know, thank God. But if Pippen wins in 2000, he is then sitting likely, because I still believe that Portland would have beat Indiana. He is sitting with 7 titles at least, probably on his way to his 8th title with Portland, because I think that would have changed history. I think they would have gone. When you win, it changes your mentality. It really does. And Pippen had that ability, but then again, at the end of the day, he didn't. So that means, yeah, maybe he still is there. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. We use the word great, right? Great. Everybody's great for 2 weeks. Everybody's great for a season. Great is used too much. We've diluted the word great. We've allowed too many very good players into the Hall of Fame in almost every Hall of Fame except baseball. Baseball has a little bit there, but this last year they had some guys going that I'm like, sorry, Sean, I know you're Canadian, and I know Tim Raines has played for the Expos, but I never thought Tim Raines was a Hall of Famer, at least not for me. So,
Joe,
yeah, again,
you won't get a lot of clamoring from Canadians that Tim Raines didn't make the Hall of Fame.
If you have the easiest way to predict a Hall of Famer is
they're more mad that Major League Baseball stole a potential World Series from the Montreal Expos
in 1994.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah, we lost out on the possibility of Tony Gwynn hitting 400 that year too, and Matt Williams had 44 home runs in August at that time. No evidence of PEDs at that time too. We would have known. We wouldn't
this
have
bud ain't for anybody.
So great guys. Number one and great. Very few people. LeBron is one of those few people. AD. Probably not. If you have to ask, hey, is this guy a Hall of Famer? If you have to ask, then he ain't. Or she ain't. Sorry. That's how I look at it.
Marcus, I agree. Still to this day, don't understand why it didn't work out in Houston with Pippen, Hakeem, and Barkley. And
Barkley, that's why. Barkley was a lazy player in terms of things, working out and dedication. That didn't come from Pippen, by the way. That was Michael telling Pippen that, and Pippen ratted, or I should say,
that was courtesy of Marcus, by the way. Thank you for the thought, Marcus.
Yeah, repeating what Michael said. That was the first time.
Yeah, you could say rat. That's
so Pippen was doing a ESPN Century program where they asked Pippen what happened in Houston, and I think the term he used was it didn't work out there, and it's like Michael said, you don't want to. You're never going to win anything with that lazy butt guy over there, and Charles Barkley. I always thought that even before Michael and Barkley kind of separated here the last 10 years, I always thought when Michael would listen to Charles talk, he always had that kind of like, oh God, look on his face. It was a matter of time before Charles Barkley pissed off Jordan to the point where Jordan didn't want to talk to him. And it's not just about him criticizing him in Charlotte. There's other things there, but Charles doesn't talk about that. Again, it's speculation on my part. I'm not friends with him, but why would you end a 20-year relationship with someone if they didn't actually do something to really piss you off? And I think Charles has that habit of pissing people off. And of course, Pippen being who he is, he's vocal and he's honest, and that's good TV for us anyways.
Magic Man, you got something on the screen for us to take a look at before we head on out, my friend? Go ahead, Mark.
Before we head on out, just a couple observations here.
The wonderful in-season tournament is around the corner.
It's around the corner. What stands out to you in the first 10 days of the NBA season, Drew?
Well, what stands out to me right now is Memphis. Pure misery right now. It's a dumpster fire. We talk about the Raiders.
Only winless team in the NBA.
That sticks out like a sore thumb. And the fact that Boston is just wreaking havoc right now. It's not even funny. They won by 51 tonight, I think.
Yeah, their point differential is going to be absolutely absurd this first half of the season. So
Marcus, is that really a good thing? Because if they win the tournament, the Lakers win the tournament or get to the finals of the tournament, that means LeBron plays an extra game. So,
you know what, Gerald?
May not be the greatest thing in the world. I would love to see him here in Vegas.
You guys already have the standings.
But this in-season tournament thing means LeBron will play extra time.
You already have the standings for the play-ins and everything after 5 games. That's funny.
No, it's just early observation.
Here's my early observation. The Celtics are doing what they normally do. They come out the gate like gangbusters, winning every game. They'll slowly probably kind of mellow out towards the middle of the season. Milwaukee's not playing well right now because I think they need to mesh a little bit, especially in terms of the deficiencies on defense. I thought Minnesota waxing Denver today was nice. think that kind of brought them back down to earth. Whether it means anything or not, I don't know. Memphis was reeking of problems towards the end of training camp, which is why I predicted they wouldn't make the playoffs. I was looking at that team. I was watching the aura, as Charlie Murphy would call Rick James, the aura, right? Like the aura, like I saw it, right? But the problem is it wasn't orange, it was black, and Memphis and the noise or their lack thereof of what's going on with John Morant. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm smelling something over there. And I thought getting Marcus Smart was a good acquisition. It was good. They're trying to get a leader in there to kind of mellow things out, someone who people can respect. But man, watching them in the preseason, I'm like, damn, this does not look good at all. Not even for a preseason. So 0-5 right now, and you still got to wait another 20 games before he gets back.
Yeah. And by the way, if you go to the Grizzlies' social media, Gerald, they're pointing out, well, you know what team started 0-5 last year and made the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, you're not the Lakers.
And you don't have LeBron James.
You're not the Lakers.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen there when they go out on the road. Their next game is against Orlando. We're going to cover it for you, not only with the pregame, but also as well, playback.tv/Lakers Fast
He didn't
Break.
fall a lot today. Hey, did you guys notice that?
Intel Wild with the super chat.
You were taking a couple shots from my memory. I don't even remember him falling.
Yes.
Today.
Great drinking game. He suggests take a shot every time AD falls down, and you'll be super drunk by that time. Appreciate the super chat and you and Darren have been truly tremendous with the super chats today. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. But yeah, I don't remember him falling down at all.
Yeah, that's the first time I remember.
I think he got knocked down once, if I remember correctly, that I saw. So that's but I tell you what, just
getting
a great overall
knocked down
effort.
and not falling down yourself.
Yeah. He did get knocked down.
It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up.
Oh, there you go.
That's how winning is done.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's been great having you guys here, guys and gals from all over. Big shout out to everyone all over the world.
Fight the big fight. I'll fight the big fight.
Watching.
I'll fight them.
Yes. Philippines, Brazil, UK, Trinidad and Tobago, just everyone out there that's watching us, Canada, the US, of course, all over. Truly cannot thank you enough for being part of what we do at the Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead, Joe.
Count it, Darren. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I don't remember falling tonight. I'm sure he did, but I don't remember. I always remember him falling because he does it every other time he's on the court. But I really don't remember him falling a lot tonight. I don't know. I just didn't. I don't think he could. He didn't have enough time. If he fell down, then
Eric, yes, Derrick Rose did go to the Grizzlies. He is a backup, but getting limited minutes. I've seen him only about 5 to 15 minutes a game is what I'm usually seeing him playing. So he's not making a huge contribution for them. Marcus Smart, I see a lot as far as the steals, but he's not shooting very well. But then again, this team without John Morant, Magic Man, has truly been a disappointment. Plus the loss of Steven Adams for the entire season. And also as well, they've got one more big injury as well. One of their forwards. I forget which one.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Gerald.
From Gonzaga.
I want to say it's, is it Jake LaRavia?
No, he tore Achilles. Remember? Not Jake LaRavia.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gerald. No, that's Brandon Clark. He's coming back.
Brandon Clark, yes.
Brandon Clark will be back this year at some point. But tore his Achilles earlier in 2023. Gerald, they don't have a secondary shot maker. No. They really don't. Even when Ja comes back, and I'm sure they'll, this could go either way at this point. 0-5 isn't 0-3 in football, but if you're coming out of, like, Jared, we're almost up to 10 games here. That's a 10th of the season. That's a long stretch. So if they don't figure this out, I don't think they're going to make it back to the playoffs, Jill, because even when Ja comes back, now teams have clued in. Triple J isn't going to be that secondary scorer ever, Gerald. Ever. I think he could be the third or fourth best scorer on a team while playing his lauded defense. But that being said, a lot of wrinkles and a lot of flaws are showing up for this team, and they're as far as teams getting exposed. Austin may have gotten exposed. The Grizzlies are getting exposed badly.
That they are, my friend. But we'll see what happens. We'll continue to go ahead and report. In
And
fact,
Gerald,
yes.
early observations. NBA Rookie of the Year right now. Chet Holmgren is
Yeah.
in the pace car. The Spurs picked up a huge win yesterday, Gerald. By the way, we should laugh our asses off about how the Suns can choke any kind of way, any which way, anytime.
You know what?
Um,
I like what I see when with Wemby, he is not too far behind
Vasil and Wemby have really great chemistry, Gerald. It's obvious.
Vassell. Yes.
Vassell
Yes.
and Wemby have really great chemistry.
That they do, my friend. That they do. It's good to see, but that leads to possibly. I don't think that Wemby is out of it as yet. With it's just a few games in. So while
Gerald,
Holmgren,
I think it's going to be 30 to. I think it's going to be about halfway through the season before I think he really starts figuring things out.
but he even played well though in the limited times. He's had a couple games where he struggled, but there's been a couple games where he has played okay, and to the point where you're starting to see a little bit click in more and more. So it's good to see this battle for the rookie of the year, but it's also good to see everything going on in the NBA, including a victory for the Lakers. Joe, any final thoughts on the Lakers victory tonight, 130 to 125 in overtime before we head on out?
No.
No. Okay. Magic Man, any thing you want to go ahead and interject on? Great team victory. Great team victory. Not just LeBron and AD carrying us home. It was actually D'Angelo had a great and sensational game. Austin Reeves playing now in the second half like we really, really needed him to. Yeah, and definitely some good contributions from Wood and Reddish. And yeah, just overall a great team victory, Sean.
Absolutely, Gerald. That's what we wanted to see, and obviously, with as many arrows as we have in the quiver, it's going to be AD and LeBron that have a lot of their names on the arrows. But as far as a team win goes, can't get any better than this, and they're going to need it on the weekend, either in Orlando or against the Heat. Gerald, going to need a team effort in at least one of those two games.
Agreed, my friend. Agreed. But we'll find out. That's coming later this week. But for tomorrow, we've got more great NBA observations headed your way. Of course, Lakers snack pack probably on Friday as well. We'll go ahead and make sure we get lots of Laker talk in there as they head out on their first real road trip. Yes, I know they played in Sacramento, but this is their first real road trip that they're going ahead on for this season. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what they could do with the games that they have out on the road this week. So for Magic Man, Sean Grice, Joe Soro, go ahead and check out Joe Soro today at simblades.com and lakersball.com at Sox 1947. Eric says Saturday, November the 4th, Lakers at Magic, 4 p.m. start time. Absolutely. That'll be on playback. Well, we hope. Tonight we had our issues to start off with. We hope. Come on, playback. You got to help us out here. So playback, hopefully at 4 p.m. Looking forward to that. Plus also as well, don't forget the pregame. Might even bring on the Lakerholics for the pregame. And also as well, looking forward to game time. And of course, the best postgame in town, the best show on the Lakers and the NBA in town each and every day of the week is right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Big shout out to everyone in the chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there. Intel, Darren, Brian, Eric, everybody out there, Marcus, cannot thank you enough for being part of what we do at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Ding, ding.
We beat the Clippers. We beat the Clippers. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.